Hello, everyone. I'm Chesley44, and welcome to this Let's Play of Blades of Avernum. Last episode, we did a little bit of exploring. Just a bit. We, went over the fort over here, Fort Nephilim, not Prescott, and basically took an exploration west to Pharaoh. Now, well, we do have a small quest to do west of Pharaoh, and there's someone we need to speak with to the west. I am very curious to see what happens there. Eventually we'll go to Gerald's Town and Danilo Creek, but for now, let's see here. Danger, Onevian infestation nearby. Yes, Onevians, some strange exploding boar. There's a stone circle on the riverside. By the looks of things, it has been defiled. Some of the 12-foot stones have been tipped over, and a couple of angry souls have taken a swing at them with a pickaxe. A half of a stone altar stands in the middle of the circle. Judging from the current events of Pharaoh Lake, this used to be an Nephilim holy ground. The former slaves must have destroyed it. There's nothing for you here. I guess it makes sense. Okay, there's the thick forest that we were told about. For a moment, it looked like this quarry was completely abandoned. However, one stooping old man still lives in the quarry. He gestures you to join him inside his home. The building turns out to be a smeltery. The man offers you a drink. You begin to talk about the quarry. The man explains that the soldiers tried to mine iron here, but they gave up on the idea because of the low quality of the ore.
It did not take long for them to leave. I still live here. It's nice and quiet.
He points to the forge in the smeltery.
I've been trying to work on that thing, but I just do not have enough iron. You seem like strapping young fellows. Why don't you bring me some bars of iron? I can pay you 30 gold per bar.
You tell the man you'll keep his suggestion in mind and bid him farewell. Ah, a good old-fashioned bring me iron quest. That's something we can do. Ah, this must be the little hut. The hut stands all alone near the forest. It is larger than the rest of the hovels you've seen so far. It is also a lot older. There's moss growing on the woodwork. In a way, however, the hut looks sturdy. You can barely make out faint sounds from the inside. Someone is home. Do you have anything to say? Adrian looks warily around him. What is this place?
This is the hut of Raquel. She is a witch. A very powerful witch. She is also very old. I have heard stories of her ever since I can remember.
Adrian looks around him again.
I'm not very comfortable being here. Raquel is so powerful that not even the Nephilim touched her, but she never did anything to free us from the Nephilim. I just do not trust her.
Curious. Miss Raquel contacted us, wanting us to meet her. This begs many questions that I hope we will get answers to. Well, there's Raquel. A small old woman with a crooked back stands behind a bubbling cauldron. Her clothes are worn but quite clean. She stirs the contents of the cauldron sluggishly. When she saw you come in the hut, she threw you a toothless grin.
Come in, dearies. I put some food for you on the table over there. Feel free to eat it at any time. You are looking awful skinny.
She pulls her ladle from the cauldron. It's covered in an orangish substance.
Care for a taste?
Did you write us a letter?
I did, my dear. I figured you would be confused after your trip. I thought you could at least need a good meal.
Raquel smiles radiantly. Our trip? Raquel chuckles.
You are not from here, dearie. It practically shines off you.
Raquel stirs the cauldron, chuckling lightly.
You have traveled a long way, dearie, and now I think you would want to find a way back home.
And you know how I can get back?
No, dearie, I do not have any rituals to get you back. I can only point in the right direction.
The hag tastes her brew.
Needs more pepper. You need to go where the disturbances have been strong lately.
Raquel throws a few peppers in the cauldron.
The lands of the giants have caused much disturbance lately, especially their northern fortress.
Disturbance?
The very same disturbance that shines off you. Time does not accept you here, dearie. The air ripples around you.
Although you try very hard to notice this yourself, you cannot detect anything. Raquel smiles at your effort.
The giants. I do not know what they are doing, but the disturbance is very strong there. Sometimes the whole sky cracks and twists.
So how do I get to the giant fortress?
I do not know. I hardly ever leave my cottage. I would guess you simply need to travel west to their valley. When you get inside the fortress, I'm sure you'll know what to do. You seem like a resourceful youngster.
The hag stirs the cauldron. So you just live here. Do you do anything?
Oh, I do plenty. I help the poor villagers when their crops fall ill, or when a harsh fever plagues the youth. Of course, in my old days, I do not get out as much as I used to. The villagers mostly come to me now, whatever their problems may be. Weird items, sick crops or people, I'll do what I can for them.
You speak like you've met time travelers before. Have you?
No, dearie, I have not. But the moment you arrived, I sensed you. It is what I learned to do when I was only an apprentice. The ability to sense travelers like you runs back deep within us. Quite possibly the first of us met someone like you. Perhaps she was even schooled by one of you, or even she was one of you. I do not know. My predecessor did not know. It does not really matter.
Is there anything I can do for you?
No. In my old days, I want to be of use, not of bother. I have no desires anymore, but there are plenty of people who need something done for them. Ask around.
I understood the people here were subdued by the Nephilim. Have you always lived here in this cottage?
Ever since I was a little girl and my predecessor chose me. That has always been the way. Once the witch grows old, she seeks for a pupil to continue her work. The Nephilim always tried to stop the teaching, but they were never successful. Until now. The Nephilim could never harm us, but they turned crueler right after I was taken as an apprentice. They made sure the people would not give their daughters to me. Nevertheless, I got an apprentice. They attacked me with such force. I had never heard of the Nephilim doing that. They had dozens of shamans and even more warriors. I tried to protect the girl, but I could not.
Raquel shakes her head. She suddenly looks very old. So what you're saying is, if I get to the giant's fortress and find the disturbance, I will somehow get thrown back into my own time?
The witch smiles. Oh, it is simple. Time has been violated. You do not belong here. Your very presence disturbs time. But since you were thrown here using magic, then it is magic that must bring you back. When you reach the cause of the disturbance in the giant's fortress and use it, time will heal itself and send you back.
Can you teach me any spells?
Ooh, you can.
Oh, not strong enough. I didn't actually want to improve Force Cage. I don't bother with that. I can't improve these spells. Mage spells need to improve. Can you tell me what these things are? Yes! Wand of Absorption. I don't think I'm going to use that. We got a magnetic ring. Also, not something I'm going to use. This Wand of Absorption? Yeah, not gonna bother.
Now, traveler, what kind of person would barge into a lady's bedchamber uninvited? Please do not go there.
Raquel flashes you a toothless smile. Alright, we'll take this food, thank you very much. Okay then. So now we effectively have our goal. We also know that somewhere to the west... Ah, this cave. That must be where we'll find the boars, so let's deal with this small issue for them. Alright, and in we go. You come across a cave entry. Listening for a while, you can make out low grunting sounds of pigs. The sound is different from ordinary pigs, but it could just be the acoustics of the cave. At any rate, it would be easy to explore the cave. Take a look inside. The moment you step inside the cave, the grunting turns more frantic. Half a dozen panicked hogs rush out of the cave to chase you away. There's something very strange about them. The air around them waves in an odd manner. There's not much you can do besides defend yourselves. 6 Onevians. Right, and from what we were told, they tend to explode. Okay, you, I want you to slow them down. The Onevian warps into something different. That's unexpected. Actually, no, just fire an arrow. Okay, the magic spell doesn't actually do anything. Maybe not use that again, but... Actually, if magic isn't working... Okay, one of them died, that's good. These guys are tough, but we can definitely kill them. There goes the second one. There goes the third one. Okay, they warped again. Well, those ones actually walked into territory that I'd actually fine with them going into. Okay, there goes that one. Next. Enraged Onevian. Okay, there goes that one. Yeah, at least that one's in an area that's wounding it a lot. Fine with that. It looks like we're going to be able to get out of this very easily. And there we go. Now that the Onevian are dead, you take a look inside their cave. You don't find much. The Onevian made a nest for themselves from various dried-up flora, but none of the trash is of any use to you. It also appears that none of the flora have been eaten. The Onevian looked fat, and yet there doesn't seem to be any food in their lair. Looking at the carcasses of the boars, you realize that they don't even have any mouths. Strange. Very strange. What the hell is the deal with these Onevians? It doesn't make much sense. Anyway, back into town. Report in on what we accomplished. The Onevians are done for. Well, that is one piece of good news, I suppose. Fillington reaches to his drawers and pulls out a punch of coins. This is not much, but it should at least cover up for any expenses you may have had, like visiting a healer. Although you did come back in one piece. It is a shame I do not have any other jobs for you. You seem very resourceful. What about the demanding job? Fillington purses his lips. Well, it is still a military matter of sort. All right, hear me out. You see, lately we have been able to push the Nephilim into a corner. A couple of weeks ago, we sacked their final town. The Nephilim retreated to some of the sort of mines to the northeast. Now, some of the recently freed slaves told us that there are still quite a few slaves in the Nephilim mines. Commander Heartwind put me in charge of finding a way to free the slaves. The way I see it, the best way to free the slaves would be sending a small group of skilled soldiers to sneak inside the fort and rescue the slaves, and I am thinking you could do it. Freeing slaves? Why the hell would we not? I mean, aside from the potential fact that it could possibly lead to an issue with time paradoxes. But then again, I'm pretty certain. But then again, I'm already fairly certain that the situation here is that we are basically doing exactly what happened anyway. So this is probably that kind of story. You know, time paradoxes don't happen because it already happened. You know what I mean. Okay, that's the big forest. I just want to look around up here. Okay, that's actually an empty spot. Very interesting. Okay, there's more Onevians there. And I'm gonna save first. Oh, before we attack them, Adrian catches a mosquito in midair. Nice area, huh? The Great Martian here. It is causing all this humidity in the air. The mosquitoes love it. The town of Tampere is beyond the swamp. To the east, we can find what is left of the Nephilim lands. A group of extremely fat boars catch your scent and begin to run around in panic. The The air around them twists and bends weirdly. Their large nostrils flare up in panic as they grunt. These boars don't have any mouths. 7 Onevians this time. Okay. Can't really do very much. Yeah, let me see if I can do this. Yeah, scared, enfeebling. Sure. Yeah, slow them all. I think it's the magic spells that are causing them to warp like that. Very curious. Takes a lot of effort to kill these guys, it seems. Yeah, these guys do hurt a lot. Okay, I'm not pleased about that. There goes that Onevian. We are definitely causing a lot of damage to these things. There goes that one. And they just changed. Okay, definitely need to heal up that guy. Okay. You need to give a haste to Bonnie because, yeah, need to keep our guys alive here. Yeah, definitely keep our guy alive. I do not want to lose our ally here. Hey, that one actually exploded! Oh, jeez. Adrian slumps to the ground. Looking at his wounds, you were surprised that he was able to stand up as long as he could. He is dead. His short life came to an end. Okay, I'm going to reload here. Good to know about how dangerous these things really are. So, once they hit blue, we probably should keep our distance from them. Or at least have someone nearby to tank the damage. I mean, Jesus. It looks like magic is what actually causes them to swap, but not what I wanted. Yes, casting magic spells on them causes them to swap. Which means... I bet if we cast this again... No, they didn't actually swap again. Disappointing. Okay, that actually didn't do anything. Okay. I guess cast this and hope that it's actually effective. Yeah, that killed one of them. Okay, definitely healing here. Not pleased about that. Okay, they changed. Which means we now have to deal with these 5. And hopefully not die to them. When they explode, I mean. Okay. Alright, and... paste. Yeah, we just need to kill these guys. 4. Alright, 3 more to deal with. That one's almost dead, which is good. I bet we can arrow it down. Almost. You guys keep your distance. That one's down. Another arrow. There goes that Onevian. Alright! We're good. You find a healthy patch of toadstools growing near the mountainside. Seeing as though they are useful for alchemy, you start to collect them. After a while, you're a couple bundles wealthier. Excellent! I approve. Regain spell energy. We're good. And we got a couple toadstools. Excellent. Alright, we can keep exploring a little bit. And 8 shamblers and a giant slug. I did not expect the giant slug here. Alright. You, smack that, and you, lightning spray. Alright, acid. That's a problem. A very unpleasant problem. How about some healing to make sure you stay alive? Bam, bam, bam. Bam, 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 bam. Okay, that's unpleasant. Definitely heal up Draco, who's going to cast Lightning Spray again. Thank you. And there we go. That's that dealt with. Okay. You've entered a more damp, swampy area. The air is incredibly moist, and the various swamp gases give the air a faint smell of a rotten egg. The plants in the swamp are either growing wildly in odd shapes or withering pathetically. The air is riddled with insects, most of which are happy to have a taste of your blood. Oh, the sun rose. Yes, I saw that body down there. A large patch of weird-looking fungus has found a suitable place to grow in the swamps. They aren't like anything you've seen before. They're small in size, and they are emitting a delicate blue glow. A pungent smell floats around them. Nonetheless, they could be useful to someone in some way. You take a moment to collect some strange mushrooms? Collect a bunch. You gather a little under a dozen of the strange blue mushrooms, and quite frankly, that's a bit too much. The instant you pick up one, a bitter smell rises from the swamp, which makes you almost lose your lunch and breakfast. Yeah, I should have expected that. This is quite the swamp. Okay. Now what's this body here? You find a body of a Nephilim in the swamps. Something corrosive has eaten through most of his or her equipment, face, and body. You search the disfigured body uneasily, but find no indication telling why the Nephilim was in the swamps. You do find a curing elixir, possibly to fight back diseases you'd caught in the swamps. Didn't help the Nephilim, but it might be useful to you. You take it. Well, that's something at least. Alright. What's this side over here? If you don't mind. Adrian looks around with a faraway look in his eyes. Home. The slave town of Tampere is around here. The Nephilim wanted to shove us all in one place next to that miserable swamp. There's not much south and west of Tampere, just a bunch of trees and the impassable mountains. Alright. So, Tampere. There's something here. You uncovered a long, hidden supply cache. Whoever put this stuff here didn't have much in terms of equipment. You find a rusty sword, a bundle of broken arrows, and moldy food, all of which you leave behind. There's but one thing worth taking, and that doesn't make you jump in joy. You take a healing potion. And suddenly, 13 rabid bats out of nowhere. Well, this should be relatively easy to deal with, I think. Yeah, they're taking a decent bit of damage, it's fine. Lightning spray. Oh, there goes one bat. Diseased. We're fine for now. And lightning spray. That killed a whole load of them. Well, thank you for that. That actually helped out. There go all of them. I did not even realize how wounded Fox got by all that. From all that. Okay, that's actually probably impassable forest. Ah, there's the place. The watchtower is inhabited by 4 soldiers. They look bored out of their mind. A brief chat with them reveals that the lands to the south are just uninhabited forests and hills. They start to ask some questions. Apparently they've been stationed here for quite some time and are interested in finding out what has been happening in the rest of Feral Lake. You answer their questions and bid them farewell. Okay, that's just a small hut. Oh! Tampere looked a lot like the rest of the shanty towns in Feral Lake from afar. However, once you got closer, you realized that the buildings, although made of wood, are also better built. Also, one thing catches your eye. A large stone building is at the center of the town. The walls look old and worn, but you were beginning to fear you would not see one building made of stone not inhabited by soldiers in all of Feral Lake. And we've made it to Tampere. Alright. Adrian looks uncomfortable being here. He cautiously looks at buildings around him. Oh, is there something you want? What can you tell me about this town? There is a moment of silence before Adrian answers. Tampere. This would be home for most of us. Yeah, a lot of memories here. A lot of people still live here. I do not understand why. If it were up to me, I'd burn down every single shack in this town. Are the memories really that bad? Adrian shakes his head. You do not live here. This place feels more like a graveyard than a town to me. Look at the buildings. They're all so grey and lifeless to me. Everyone buried a loved one here. Everyone remembers when a group of bored Nephilim would come into town and just pick people randomly and beat them up or kill them. Adrian closes his eyes for a second and opens them. I do not want to be here. I want to get as far away from this place as possible. Any shops? The Market Square isn't used much, but Godbear always has some quality weaponry available. Not that I could ever do anything but admire them. Anything else you can tell me about this town? Well, there is the temple. If we have the time, I would like to go to the temple and see Healer Proincias and maybe place a prayer. Of course. We'll do all that in the next episode, because this one's gone on long enough. I didn't actually intend to step into the town here. So, I just want to take a look at the map here. Yeah, Tampere is still there. Lorazon may not be there. We'll find out eventually. Either way, you've taken a look through the north here. Ah, this river. That's obviously not something we're going to be able to cross. Anyway, next episode we'll look through the town of Tampere. Till then, I'm Chester44, that is Fox, Cheek, Bonnie, and Draco. This has been a Blades of Avernum Let's Play, and I shall see you all next time.